The ground still trembled beneath their feet as the last remnants of the monolith crumbled to dust. Evan's sword was still gripped tightly in his hand, his knuckles white, his mind racing. The chamber was still, save for the occasional echo of settling stone and the faint, distant sound of the rumbling growl that had haunted them. The creature was gone, but its presence lingered like a shadow cast over the room. Lyra's hand remained in his, her fingers cold but steady. She had not yet spoken since the monolith's destruction, but her eyes were scanning the shattered remnants of the ancient structure, her mind clearly turning over what had just occurred. Ethan took a deep breath, his chest aching from the strain of the fight. Is it really over? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Lyra didn't answer immediately. Instead, she crouched beside the monolith's remains, her eyes tracing the jagged edges where the stone had broken apart. The faint glow of the runes had vanished, but something else lingered in the air, making far more dangerous. I don't think so, she finally replied, her voice tight. The magic that held it in place, it was just from the monolith. It was tied to something deeper, something that still slumbers within these ruins. Evan's heart sank. So, whatever was inside the monolith, it's still here. She nodded slowly, her gaze lifting to meet his, and it's waking up. A sudden chill swept through the chamber, the air thickening with an oppressive weight. The walls around them seemed to close in even further, the space growing smaller, more claustrophobic. Ethan felt his breath catch as the temperature dropped, a coldness seeping into his bones. Before either of them could react, the ground shook violently. The stones beneath their feet groaned, and the ceiling above them cracked with a deafening noise. Ethan instinctively pulled Lyra close, shielding her as pieces of rock tumbled from above. They ducked, hands over their heads, until the shaking subsided. What in the even began, but the words died in his throat. From the center of the collapsed monolith, a faint glow began to pulse. It was dim at first, but with each passing second, it grew brighter, stronger, until it bathed the entire chamber in an unnatural, sickly light. Lyra's eyes widened. No, this can't be happening. The pulse of light intensified, and Evan's grip tightened on his sword. He could feel the magic in the air, thick and suffocating. It was ancient, old magic, the kind that had been forgotten by time. But now it was stirring again. The ground trembled once more, but this time it was different. The shaking was rhythmic, like a heartbeat, steady and persistent. And then, from the depths of the chamber, there came a sound, a low, guttural noise that made Evan's blood run cold. It was a growl like before. This was something for worse. Something far more intelligent. The light from the monolith flickered and warped as a shape began to form within it, something monstrous, something twisted. The shadows in the chamber seemed to grow darker, stretching toward the light as if eager to consume it. Ethan stepped forward, his sword raised. Lyra, get ready. But she didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the form emerging from the monolith, her face pale. It's not a creature, she whispered, her voice trembling. It's a man. The figure fully emerged, and Evan's heart skipped a beat. It was indeed a man, but not a living one. His form was translucent, shimmering like a mirage, his eyes glowing with an eerie blue light. His body was clad in ancient armor, adorned with runes similar to those on the monolith, but there was no mistaking if this was a being of pure magic, a long-forgotten entity awakened from its slumber. The air around them crackled with power as the figure's gaze turned toward them. His voice sounded not with sound, but in their minds a deep, resonant tone that vibrated through their very bones. You have freed me. Evan's pulse quickened. Who are you? The figure tilted his head, his glowing eyes narrowing. I am the warden of the ruins. I was bound here to guard the heart of this place. But now, I am free. Lyra stepped forward cautiously, her voice steady but laced with suspicion. Guard the heart? What does that mean? The warden's form flickered, and the room seemed to darken further. The heart of these ruins is the source of all power within this land. It is what keeps the world in balance. But now that balance has been shattered. You have awakened me, and with my awakening, the world will change. Ethan exchanged a glance with Lyra. He could feel the weight of his words settling on his chest, crushing him with their implications. Change how Ethan asked, his grip on his sword tightening. The warden's eyes burned brighter. The heart must be restored, or the world will fall into chaos. The creature you faced was but a mere sentinel. There are others, far worse, and now they will rise. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. What do you mean? How do we stop it? The warden's form flickered again, his voice growing distant, as if speaking from a great depth. To restore the heart, he must seek the free shards of power. They are scattered across the land, hidden in places forgotten by time. Only when they are reunited can the heart be whole again, and only then can you stop the coming darkness. Evan's mind raced. Where do we find these shards? The warden's form seemed to waver, his body beginning to dissolve into the air. I cannot get you any further. The path is yours to walk, but beware. The dark darkness is already stirring. With a final ominous word, the warden's form vanished completely, leaving only a lingering trace of blue light in the air. Ethan stood frozen for a moment, the silence of the chamber pressing in on him. Lyra's hand found his again, her grip tight but steady. "We need to move," she said quietly. "We need to find those shards before it's too late." Ethan nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of their task. But where do we even begin? Lyra's eyes were filled with determination. "Wherever the shards are, we'll find them." "We have to." As they turned to leave the chamber, the hum of ancient magic still resonated in the air, and Ethan held and shaped the feeling that the true battle was just beginning.